Greetings and God's peace be with you. My name is Kristofer Lindh-Payne, and I'm one of the co-rectors at St. Francis Episcopal Parish and Community Center. Today is the feast day of St. Nicholas of Myra. Nicholas was a bishop that lived during a very challenging time in the history of the church. Many of the councils of Nicholas's time, much of the change that was occurring in the Roman Empire, as persecutions increased, as people of the Christian faith became tolerated within the empire, as Nicholas of Myra found his voice and a place of leadership in the church. He was a radical follower of Jesus. He sold everything that he had and gave it to the poor. Became bishop in a most unique way. Was said to have worked many a miracle in his life and ministry by God's grace. And I hope you'll read more about some of the stories of his life. He has a special place of love for the poor, advocacy on their behalf, for children, for sailors, for those most vulnerable. And there's so many stories about his life and ministry, and you likely know some about him because of his place in popular culture and the way that this saint's life and ministry was interwoven with people like Santa Claus and Kris Kringle. But I hope you'll take a peek and learn a little bit more about this saint and his place in history in the church and in the world. Today I'm thinking about his radical commitment to the poor and the ways that he sought to be so generous in personal ways, but also in his public witness and following Jesus. I had a chance recently to make a stop here, not far from where St. Francis is located in Towson, at our Baltimore County seat. And I was there to worship in a neighboring congregation, and I stopped by what's known as the memorial for those that have died that were homeless. In Baltimore County, there's been a practice for many years of gathering for a night of worship and fellowship and prayer across all denominational and faith lines on the longest night, which is coming up here soon. And then there's a walk that occurs over to this little brick pillar with a plaque. Hopefully you'll be able to see a photo of that. But I was struck by a number of things about the plaque. One, that it doesn't name those that have died. It just tells you the number of people that died in a given year. You'll also notice on those plaques that it's been since 2018 that they marked that on the pillar there. A lot has occurred since 2018, and so I wonder about that. I wonder about the place of remembrance of those that are most vulnerable in our communities. Having read recently about a man that was homeless in northeast Baltimore County that was murdered just a couple of weeks ago, just thinking about how those that are unhoused are vulnerable, not only to the elements, not only to the cold and freezing, but the ways that we here as St. Francis Episcopal Parish and Community Center, but as people of faith seek to care for those that are most vulnerable. I'm struck by Nicholas of Myra's powerful witness in the church and the way that he engaged the Roman emperors of his time. And I'm just thinking about our diocese and the ways that we're called to lead at this time. I'm grateful to be a part of diocesan staff and to see the way that that Bishop Sutton is seeking to engage with congregations to really look at the land on which their buildings rest, and to really think strategically about how we might use some of those spaces to provide in missional ways for what's going on in our community. That can take many forms. As someone who has been a long-time advocate for housing for those that are most vulnerable, I hope that in some of these spaces that we'll find the ability to provide affordable housing for those that need it. It's an essential part of how, as Christians and as people of faith, that we provide for our neighbors. I believe these are acts of justice, very different than the work of charity that invites us to give, but to really think about the structures that exist in our society and how we provide the basic needs of those that are most vulnerable. It's a joy and a privilege to be a part of our community of faith at St. Francis, and to be a part of this diocese, to be a part of this wider church, to ponder the life of the saints and the way that they call us to radical love, to generosity. St. Nicholas on this feast day, there are lots of traditions that we have in the church. There are traditions that we have in our homes about how we remember him. And I wonder, as we think about his life and ministry and witness, how that impacts you. I know that tomorrow night on Wednesday at the Welcome Table Wednesdays, that group will be gathering to share a common meal together. And I understand that St. Nicholas will be in some way, shape, or form featured in that common meal. Wednesdays are also a time when the free choice pantry is open, and the number of people that have been coming, our neighbors, to receive food. And it strikes me the powerful ways that we at St. Francis Episcopal Parish and Community Center are doing the work of God at this time. So thanks for listening. I wish you a continued blessed Advent as we go through this season together. And until next time, Christ's peace be with you.